Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really profound way of looking at the mind, one that might just change how you think about, well, thinking itself. This deep dive comes to us at the request of Sachin Karnik, a researcher with the Angel Wing LLC. And we're going to explore a central idea from his work that is, frankly, a game changer. What if your thoughts aren't things you create from scratch, but are more like signals you tune into? Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start with this core analogy, because it's the key that unlocks this entire framework. We usually think of our brain as a computer, right? Storing files, running programs, but what if that's not the best metaphor? What if your mind is actually much more like a radio receiver? Its job isn't to generate the music, but to scan the airwaves, lock onto a specific frequency, and then translate that invisible signal into something you can actually hear. This one shift in perspective changes everything.
And this table here really lays out the one-to-one comparison. So the physical radio receiver, that's your cognitive faculty, the part of you that thinks and perceives. The specific stations, like your favorite rock station or news channel, those are what the source material calls informational frequencies, specific streams of consciousness. And maybe the most critical piece of the puzzle, the decoding process, the part that turns static into a clear voice, that's a process called modulation. It's how your mind takes this raw, energetic information and translates it into the coherent thoughts and perceptions that make up your reality. Right, so if our mind really is a receiver, how does it actually work? How do we tune in to a specific station and turn that signal into the world we see, hear, and feel every single day? Let's dig into the actual mechanics of what it takes to get a clear, crisp signal of understanding. This quote right here gets to the absolute heart of the matter. Cognition isn't just a thing you do, it is the interpretive frequency of your consciousness. Notice the language here. It's not mechanical, it's vibrational. It's this living, dynamic process that takes the chaotic, raw data of existence and skillfully organizes it into the movie that you call your life. It's the bridge from raw awareness to organized understanding.
So let's really break this term down, because interpretive frequency is absolutely central. Think of it like the specific channel or setting that your consciousness is dialed into at any given moment. This isn't just about what you're paying attention to, it's so much deeper than that. This frequency is the filter through which all of reality passes. It determines what you even perceive in the first place, what gets filtered out, and how you assemble the pieces into a story that makes sense to you. It is the fundamental engine that transforms pure energy into meaningful information, and then turns that information into your personal, subjective experience of being alive.
And that process of translating the frequency perfectly is called modulation. The ideal state, the goal, is what the source calls balanced modulation. I just love this analogy of cognition as a clear prism. When pure white light hits a perfectly cut, clean prism, it refracts into a beautiful, coherent spectrum of color. It's organized, it's clear, but if that prism is dirty or cracked or flawed, the light gets scattered and distorted. It's the exact same idea here. When our modulation is balanced, it cleanly translates consciousness into clear understanding. When it's not, well, that's when we get all the static and distortion.
So, let's be clear about what modulation is. It's an active, shaping process. Picture consciousness as this vast, infinite ocean, and on its surface are these subtle ripples and vibrations. These are the informational waves. Modulation is the act of taking those incredibly subtle vibrations and shaping them, molding them into a coherent pattern that we can actually recognize: a sight, a sound, a thought, a word. It's the amazing journey from the subtle energy of potential to the concrete meaning of our world. Now, this whole process of modulation isn't just random. It stands on two essential pillars. The first one is resonance. This is your mind's natural tendency to lock onto, to align with, frequencies that match its current state, your existing beliefs, your core memories, even your underlying emotional tone. It's why if you're feeling happy, you tend to notice more things to be happy about. Your frequency is resonating with positivity. The second pillar is differentiation. This is the crucial ability to tell one pattern apart from another, to create distinctions and categories. You absolutely need both to build a coherent reality. You need resonance to connect with information, and you need differentiation to organize it. So, using these two pillars, our minds build our entire psychological world, brick by brick. It all starts with perception. That's the first filter, deciding what sensory information even gets in. Then comes conceptualization, where we group those perceptions into abstract ideas, things like justice, beauty, or friendship. After that, belief formation steps in to stabilize these interpretations into a consistent framework for how the world works. And finally, judgment and evaluation assign weight and significance to it all.
These four operations, all driven by that modulation process, construct the entire architecture of your personal reality. But of course, as we all know, the signal isn't always crystal clear. So what happens when the radio isn't tuned correctly? You don't get a crisp, beautiful broadcast, you get static, you get noise, you get distortion. In the language of cognition, this is what we call dysfunction. And the source material highlights two primary ways our signal can get all messed up. And here they are: rigidity and fragmentation. Let's go right back to our radio analogy because it works perfectly. Rigidity is like the dial on your radio is broken, and you're just stuck on one single station. It plays the same song, the same ideas over and over, and you simply cannot tune into anything new. Fragmentation is the complete opposite problem. It's like the receiver is just erratically scanning through every channel on the dial, never landing on one long enough to make sense of it. It's just a cacophony of disconnected noise.
So let's zoom in on rigidity. Psychologically, this is what a closed-off defensive mind looks and feels like. It shows up as dogmatism, as a total lack of flexibility. And it's the home of that classic confirmation bias, where we're only willing to see and accept information that confirms what we already believe to be true. Now look at the energetic description. It's fascinating. Low-frequency entrenchment. The mind's own energy field has become so dense and stuck, it's literally unable to vibrate at a higher rate. It can't resonate with new ideas or new frequencies of truth, because it's mistaken its own narrow broadcast for the entire spectrum of reality.
And now for fragmentation. This is the inner experience of feeling scattered, pulled apart, and disconnected. Psychologically, you might recognize this as confusion or dissociation, where you feel detached from reality, or that painful looping pattern of rumination, where your thoughts just spin and spin without ever finding a resolution. The energetic description for this is frequency incoherence. Instead of being stuck in one low frequency, the mind's field is vibrating in multiple, conflicting directions all at once. There's no harmony, no central organizing signal, just noise pulling you in every direction.
So, if we're experiencing this kind of cognitive static, whether it's the stuckness of rigidity or the chaos of fragmentation, how in the world do we get back to that clear, coherent signal? Well, the journey back to clarity starts by really understanding the nature of the noise itself.
Both of those states of dysfunction, being stuck or being scattered, they both lead to this underlying condition, which the source calls energetic dissonance. Now that is a powerful term. It means that the different parts of you, your thoughts, your emotions, even the energy in your physical body, are literally out of tune with each other. They're vibrating at conflicting frequencies, and that creates a constant state of internal friction and disharmony.
And I'm willing to bet you have felt this yourself. The common psychological term for this experience is cognitive dissonance. It's that deeply uncomfortable, mentally stressful feeling you get when you're trying to hold two contradictory beliefs at the same time, or when your actions don't line up with your core values. According to this framework, that psychological discomfort is the direct, tangible experience of that deeper energetic dissonance.
When we're faced with this inner conflict, this dissonance, consciousness has a few instinctive ways it tries to restore balance. First, it might try to repress awareness. Basically, you just ignore one of the conflicting signals, push it down, and pretend it's not there. Second, it can adjust its beliefs to resolve the conflict, which can often be a real path of growth and learning. Or third, it can aim for something much deeper, a higher integration, a true healing that realigns the entire energetic flow to discover a more holistic, encompassing truth.
And this quote just nails the ultimate goal here. Healing the mind isn't just about trying to stop negative thoughts. It's about restoring coherence. It's about bringing your entire being back into a state of beautiful alignment, where your thoughts are in sync with truth, your emotions are in sync with deep understanding, and your personal energy is in sync with consciousness itself.
So, what's on the other side of all this work? What happens when that coherence isn't just patched up and restored, but is actually perfected, refined, and polished to a mere shine? Well, we arrive at the highest, purest expression of cognition. We arrive at the sound of a perfect signal.
And that state is called gnosis. Now, this isn't about just being smarter or having more clever thoughts. Gnosis is described as a state of direct, holistic knowing. It's a way of understanding that transcends the limitations of words, concepts, and beliefs. In this state, thought is no longer a clumsy filter or an obstacle you have to see through. Instead, thought becomes this transparent, luminous bridge, a perfect instrument that consciousness can use to express itself without distortion.
It's what happens when your personal interpretive frequency harmonizes perfectly with the frequency of higher awareness. Just take a moment and imagine what that would actually feel like. In the state of gnosis, the signal is so pure, so perfectly tuned, that you no longer perceive reality as a series of separate, fragmented events. Instead, just as the slide says, you experience existence as one single, unbroken continuum of meaning, where you can see how everything is interconnected, everything has a purpose.
Okay, wow, we have covered a lot of ground here, from a simple radio analogy all the way to the highest state of knowing. So let's bring this all back home and really focus on the crucial takeaway from all of this, for you and your own mind.
So here's the bottom line. Your cognition, the way you think, is not some passive, mechanical thing that just happens in your head. It is an active, dynamic, vibrational journey. It's the truly miraculous process by which consciousness itself takes the raw, formless, undifferentiated energy of the universe and translates it through your unique interpretive frequency into the structured, colorful, meaningful reality that you are experiencing in this very moment.
And this really leaves us with one final, and I think pretty profound thought to sit with. After everything we've just explored, what frequency is your consciousness tuned to right now? Is your signal coming in clear and coherent? Is it feeling a bit rigid, maybe stuck on an old familiar station? Or is it fragmented, erratically scanning and full of static? Because the quality of your entire life is being broadcast on that very frequency. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. If this framework resonates with you and you'd like to learn more, you can find the contact information for Sachin Karnik in the description box below. Thanks for watching The Explainer.